All right.
I see who's all here. Look who's that.
Okay, welcome everyone. We're calling to order the April 29, 2024 meeting of the Sustainable Battle Creek Committee. It's 1:31 p.m. Excuse me, we'll go, just go around, do just introductions. I don't think we have, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we have any special guests today. But just if we can go around, I'll call on folks around my screen, just your name and who you are and where you're zooming in from. I'm Andy Humboldt, volunteer community member chairing the committee in my home in Battle Creek, the city of Bob.
Yeah, I'm Bob Gilbert. I'm a community volunteer also, coming in from my home office in Battle Creek, Michigan.
All right, Christopher Martin.
Yes, hello. Chris Martin, urban planner at Battle Creek Unlimited.
All right, and Christopher Basic. How do you? I forgot how you're saying name. Sorry.
Basic.
Basic. Okay, that's
It is basic. Oh yeah, Chris Basic, and I'm right here coming from Battle Creek Community Involvement.
all righty. Thank you, Kathy.
Thanks, Andy. Kathy Antea, community resident, member of the committee, calling from Battle Creek, Michigan.
All righty, and then Patty, you all there in the big room.
Patty Hoke Maluish, Environmental Department, City of Battle Creek, zooming in from Department of Public Works in Battle Creek.
Rick Rubit, engineer administrator, same place.
Taylor Barnard, environmental intern, also same place.
Bessie Steers, Environmental Department, same place.
All righty, thank you all. We did receive minutes. I believe I saw them from the February meeting. Were those in the same? No, they're not. I thought we got them.
They were just sent just shortly, this morning, so.
Oh, they were in with the calendar. Yeah. Okay. All right then. I think. Let's see, who do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we've got a quorum. We did have Frank Drury resigned from the committee, which I believe took us from 12 down to 11 members, if I'm not mistaken, Patty.
I don't know off the top of my head.
I think I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 7 here today anyway, but
It's been 13 to 12, I thought.
Bessie has them listed
no.
at the bottom of the.
Yeah, he's right.
Oh, yep, well, you know what? Jarrett is actually a member.
Oh, is he?
Yep. Jared Gearing's actually a member. There was some question there because he's also a city employee, but they did approve him as a member. So.
okay, so we do, even without Frank, we do still have 12 then.
Well, Jared's not here today.
Yes, that's.
I know he's not here, but I mean the number of I'm trying to understand whether or not we have a quorum. I believe we do because there's 7 of us that are members here. So even if it was 13, we would still have quorum. If we had gone down to 11, then our quorum would only be 6. Is why I'm asking.
But yes, that's correct.
But what I'm hearing is we do actually still have 12.
Yes.
Okay. All right, then the minutes. Either way, we have enough of us here to approve minutes. Would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Andy,
If
I'll make
Patty
it-
did them, they must be great. I'll move to approve the minutes.
Actually, Bessie did them, but
Oh,
yes.
then
it'd be
even
great.
better. Yeah.
All right, moved by Patty. Is there a second? Or moved by
second.
Kathy. Moved by Kathy, seconded by Bob to approve the minutes. There we go. Are there any questions or comments or, corrections or anything relative to the minutes? All right, then all those in favor of approving the minutes from the February meeting, please say aye or
Aye.
wave affirmatively.
Aye.
All right, are there any opposed? All right, hearing or seeing none, those minutes then have been approved and we can move forward.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, Patty, whoever you all want to handle all our regular usual reports and updates and whatnot.
Okay, well, Kurt, I think has some energy efficiency updates, so I'll let him.
I just have one project that's coming up with wastewater, anticipate probably starting middle May. That's a HVAC upgrade at the administration building and wastewater. So currently there's a lot of valves and things that are not working. The valves are run by a compressor or by air, which is out in solids handling building, which runs all the facilities. So we're trying to isolate those and get them off building specific. These actually will be run from electric, so that will actually be more efficient than the running your compressor with electricity that loses a lot of air. So we'll be getting a small rebate for that project once over.
What's a small update or a rebate? What would?
A couple thousand.
Okay. Pretty good. All
Okay.
right. Okay. And then I'll just, I guess, turn it over to Bessie and we'll put her PowerPoint just kind of showing some pictures of what we've been doing. And there it is. Okay, can everyone see? I'm gonna move all you guys down here. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna move them somewhere else. Where can I put them? Down lower. Okay. Okay.
All right, our first event of the year was our polystyrene event, on March 20th. Oh man, we had like 20+ volunteers show up that day and it was a great thing because it was so windy. Like we wouldn't have made it if we didn't have over 20 people there. So we had a lot of fun. And we collected about 930 pounds, seeing about 183 people. We collected quite a bit in-house from our employees as well. So we'd like to thank our NHS kids, the Lions Club, and some of our employees showed up, and a lot of our regulars as well. So thanks to them for a successful event. Planting trees. So it took us about 3 different days to get 500 saplings in the ground. They were bare root native saplings. The first day was on the 20th. On Saturday, we had a huge Denso crowd and a lot of city employees and some NHS kids and some of our other regulars like Karen Slack and Karen Wiedemann and their crew. Super fun. We did 2 different protectors for shrubs. We had this green mesh down on the left. You can see it's quite laborious to put those protective cages up. So we had to just go ahead the next couple of days and just get the trees in the ground. And so we still have to go back and put a lot of tree protector tubes around the trees that we got in the ground. So if anybody feels like they want to get a crew out and go put some plastic tubing up, just let us know. But other than that, it was really successful.
Bessie has the tricks down on how to do that.
Following the 20th, our big tree planting day. Oh, that day we did see about 100 people too. We followed into our Earth Week, which was the 22nd through the 28th. Lots of people reached out this year. I was trying to keep my spreadsheet updated, and it looked like almost 200 people were gonna gather this last week, and pick up trash. So super, super awesome. We had the Stars and Stripes daycare, you can see in the upper right, bunch of little kids out there having fun. Kathy led a crew at Fell Park. They had over 20 volunteers there, picked up a lot of trash and a lot of tires. The Rotary Club was also at Fell Park. And then in the middle there, we have Karen Slack and her crew. They love to do the linear path behind the Calhoun County court building there. And then there was a church, Colin with another church, who he was also planning quite a bit of cleanup projects too, along Bailey Park and Horseshoe Bend. And yeah, so I feel like we covered most of Battle Creek this last week. So
That group on River Road too.
oh, yes, and Team Active, also, we just got their pictures in before we started the meeting. Team Active likes to do River Road, west of Clark Road. And, Republic Services donated a 20-yard, 30-yard?
I think it was an 8. Was it 8?
No, the dumpster was, I think it was a 30-yard dumpster. It was big. Well, they donated a big dumpster. They were able to fill that dumpster right up. So Kathy, are you raising your hand? I feel like I seen your hand up down there. I can't see you guys very well.
I was clapping because that River
Oh.
Road is just such a collection place. They needed a 30-yard dumpster. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, they do. They did it last year and they got like 30 tires last year, maybe more, I don't know, but they look like they got a bunch of mattresses and couches and all sorts of stuff. So it's awesome to have community members pick a section and attack it every year, because it's unfortunate. I think we'll always have those who like to just leave their things on the side of the road. So thank you to all our volunteers.
It's back here. Okay.
It's okay. May 8th is next week. We have our first and only scrap tire collection this year. Here at DPW from 4 to 6. If you're willing to get dirty and just toss some tires out of the back of cars for us to load in the trailer, please let me know. And hope for good weather, and it usually runs pretty smooth, so 2 hours isn't too bad. We have a lot of pictures, or a lot of tires with rims in this picture. We don't like to publicize that we will take those, because we couldn't do a whole trailer with rims. So we like to promote it as just the tire, just the rubber, please. May 15th, DPW's hosting a free event. This will be our second open house. We have a lot of fun stuff going on. We are gonna have a lot of our city trucks open for kids to jump in and climb in and toot the horns. We'll have a lot of fun interactive stations where they'll learn how to learn about recycling, or they'll learn about wipes versus toilet paper. And Rodney was gonna have some composting. We might have a planting station. We're gonna paint a plow. We'll have some other fun games, and there'll also be a beverage and concessions trailer called the Jonesies. So they'll have more kid-friendly food like hot dogs and things like that. So if it is a free event open to the city of Battle Creek, so bring your kids, bring your families.
What time is that, Bessie?
Oh, that's a good question. What did it say on there?
4 to 6.
It's from 4 to 6. Following that, the next week we'll have our first electronics collection with Shupan again. I believe that's a Wednesday, from 4 to 6. And, oh yeah, it's right there. If you want to volunteer for this one as well, it's pretty fun. And yeah, if you need more information, the flyer's there and I can email that out. And it looks like I didn't put in the Children's Water Festival. I forgot to add that. But I did get about 520 some kids this year. About how many classes was that? I think it was over 12 classes. So another successful year with the tote activities. We are gonna, we do have a spot at Kellogg Arena next year already secured. So we're gonna try to be in person next year for this event. So I might be reaching out for people who want to help out with that because we're gonna need all hands on deck. That's it.
Thank you.
Sound good?
Oh, I forgot the rainbow sale.
Oh, you wanna talk about it?
I was gonna put that in there, totally forgot. So I did forget, I wanted to include, the rain barrel and composter sale was very successful. We sold 6 composters and 37 rain barrels. We did raffle one off in-house and we had a gal from City Hall, Rebecca Forbes, won that one. So yeah, we probably won't host another one this year. It'll be again next year.
All right. Thank you. Just a little update on the greenhouse gas inventory. So all the data have been returned. We're just now in the process of getting the report together. Bob has been really helpful. I'm gonna put you guys back up so I can see you. Bob has been really helpful with that. He's done one previously at Pierce Cedar Creek. And so Bessie and I have been relying on Bob a lot for some suggestions, but what we're gonna need from the sustainability group is some, I guess, a review and then some input on what we want our goals to be, and then we'll make those recommendations to city commission before it's finalized. And then what's based on what we come up with for the greenhouse gas inventory goals that will play into our sustainability plan updates that we've been talking about that will be needed before the end of the year. So I guess watch for an email from us. Bob just sent me some good suggestions and updates on Friday, so I haven't had a chance to look at those yet, but we'll try and bullet points this and get the report to you all and have, open for feedback on that. I don't know the best way to go about that. Andy, do you think that makes sense, is to get an email out to let people review first, or?
Yeah. That makes sense. Once you get it together, just email it out and, with some instructions, like here's what kind of helpful feedback we were looking for. And then would you be aiming then for us to discuss this at the June meeting?
That might make sense. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, we could go through a round of like you sending it out, hearing back, suggestions and questions and whatnot from folks. Depending on your timeline and whatnot, I'm just, maybe around, or, to get it to us ahead of that so that you can have a little bit of back and forth via email before the meeting. And then the meeting, we can do some conversations, discernment on, the goals and whatnot.
Okay, that makes sense. But we'll plan on that then. All right, grants, we haven't heard back. We submitted a National Fish and Wildlife Federation 5-star Urban Waters grant. That was for a bunch of trees, education, outreach, and basically in the Jackson area where we just were planting. We'll find out about that. I'm guessing probably September. The Water System Advisory Council, I think we talked about that. That's for lead service line, education, and we were awarded that. That's a state of Michigan grant that was for a little over $8,000. So we're working on getting lead service line info out to schools, to the public. We've got some radio ads, went in our DPW newsletter, and then Bill Stuffers. So that's how that's gonna be spent. We just found out within the last couple of weeks that we got the MyCore River Cleanup Grant. That was for just under $3,000. And we're going to be able to purchase some more river cleanup supplies and equipment. And our goal is to incorporate a river cleanup in the Canoe the Kazoo event this summer. So we're gonna canoe or paddle that same stretch of the Battle Creek River from Emmett to Carlisle. So it's right through downtown, and we're going to encourage our participants to also clean up trash along the way. So we're getting new trash grabbers and bags and a couple kayaks to haul trash on. So a winch to get bigger things out. So it was a pretty nice grant and will allow us to do some more in-river cleanup. We're purchasing, this is old news. Bessie just talked about the 500 trees and tubes that we purchased. So that's those are the photos you saw. Japanese knotweed treatments will be happening along the linear path in Willard Beach this summer or summer into fall. And then I guess I'll see if Chris, if I don't mean to put you on the spot, Chris Martin, if you want to fill us in on the Kalamazoo River naturalization updates, I can turn it over to you if you would like to have anything you want to share.
Sure. Yeah. Just the press that you guys might have seen in the paper today, and it came out from BCU about graphics packaging in collaboration with the current owner. BCU has allocated up majority of its funding they received from the state back in 2022 to work with the property owner on cleanup, recycling, and then demolition, and then eventually green spacing the 10-acre parcel for river naturalization. So most of that work is going to be completed this year. So stay tuned. That's the big one. We had a successful site visit with Corps members and DPW folks last week with the Army Corps along the river corridor, and we're kicking off our new, I guess you call it phase 2 with the Army Corps, a fully funded federal study. They're going to be in town this Thursday to do kind of a site visit as well. So that's going to be focusing on environmental and more civil-based engineering focus versus the hydrology modeling. So yeah, some exciting stuff. And hopefully we'll hear some news about our 2 grants that we applied for on behalf of the city, both Eagle and DNR, by next month.
That's great. I've been seeing activity kind of going in and out of that facility. I was wondering what was going on. I'm like, what's going on? I thought they closed. So then when I read and heard that it was activity aimed at this project, okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
I got used to not having to stop for trucks there.
Yes. So yeah, that's exciting. And also one of the sites, not really for a river naturalization, but in our project area, the former Kmart site was also selected for some low-income housing tax credits, which is huge. That's a 10-acre parcel essentially adjacent to graphics packaging area. So that would be composed of affordable housing units and market rate.
Yep, saw that too.
Mm-hmm. That's about it for me.
Thank you. Back to the agenda here. There we go. We talked about the open house already, so I think we're set there. And so I guess that's basically what I have. Andy?
All right. Well, let's pause then. Questions from folks about any of those updates or the activities going on or the river naturalization or any of that? Go ahead, Bob.
Hey, Chris, I just wondered if you mentioned about this phase 2 Army Corps. I think you defined it as like a full study paid for. Do you know like what would be the expected outcomes of that level of study? Do you know what they would be looking at there?
Yeah, great question. We're essentially wrapping up our hydrology modeling study. When I say we, the Corps, that full report should be available to the public in June of this year. The new focus is a little, so what some outcomes that you're asking for. We're going to be they're going to be doing a lot of reviewing of our environmental assessments that BCU owns and a few parcels that the city owns. We're going to be looking at a lot of soil and sediment conditions within the adjacent sites and also in the riverbed. They're going to be reviewing a lot more of the structures, such as the bridges, railroad crossings, utilities, reviewing the dam and other built structures, and other items that the Corps would deem necessary. We're still going for our full WRDA authorization, which draft legislation has been approved, and it's making its way hopefully in both the federal House and Senate. We did hear back that could be delayed. We were hoping that would be incorporated next year. So essentially this study is fully federally funded, luckily, and it'll continue the process of getting more of our ducks in a row, so we kind of can anticipate hopefully better, I guess you could say, outcomes that we might expect when starting that full GI or general investigative study. That's the ultimate target goal. But in the meantime, this will help us gather a lot more data.
Okay, thanks, Chris. That
Yeah,
clarifies it a lot. Thank you.
yeah.
Other questions or
Yeah.
comments around the updates?
Just a quick question on the graphics packaging.
Mm-hmm.
Not super familiar with their whole property line. Does that include the other side of East Fulton or just within the Capitol Tracks River Fulton area?
Yeah, so it's about a 10-acre parcel. If you're talking about some of the adjacent like parking lots, those will be used for staging of the equipment, and some of those will be removed. I'd be happy to pass along the press release to Andy, or a parcel layer map of what that's included in that 10 acres. I know there is a few spurs on the adjacent sides that include parking lots. Those will be green spaced as well. Those will be the last to be green spaced though, because those are going to be used for a lot of staging equipment for the demolition.
Yeah, I was just curious of the exact footprint of what they own, that's all. It was just a curiosity thing.
Isn't there a significant chunk, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, that whole area, wasn't there some, who was it? One of the utilities, Semco or Consumers or somebody
Yes.
had property there?
Yes, adjacent to that. Yes, that is now in an ownership for this river naturalization, the Semco site. Yes.
That's within the same, there's like a holding company now or something that.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So that'll be all a contiguous chunk of property.
Yes.
From
So yeah,
Capitol across what used to be Fountain up to where the penetrator comes in and all that.
yes, exactly. And it's still in the ownership of the current property owner. And so by the end of that process, like I mentioned earlier in my comments, then it'll be, I guess you could say, included in the portfolio.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, we'll stay tuned. It's a huge project. There's been a lot of, I guess you could say, constructive comments from the public in regards to social media, but I think it made the Battle Creek Enquirer over the weekend. But feel free to stay tuned to BCU's social media pages for, I guess you could say, most up-to-date information too.
Yep. Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Chris. Other questions or comments? All right. All right, Patty. What's next? We already touched on the
Planning department updates.
we don't have any other planning folks, do we?
I
No.
think we're down to tours.
Or commission folks, and we covered the plan and the greenhouse gas inventory stuff.
Yep. I guess the only other thing is we're trying to get a tour of the city's recycling facility down in Elkhart. And it sounds like Republic, is gonna be able to do that. I don't have an exact date yet, but I threw out, it looked like for our folks here, May 29th might be the date. So if you wanna pencil that in, I'm waiting to hear back to see if that will work for them, but kind of save that date if you are interested in going. Last time we went, I think we were at the facility hour and a half maybe, but it's a little bit of a drive down there. So I'd figure, you know, if we could just reserve your morning probably, if you're interested in going, and let me know if you're interested in going. I can put you on the list. And
Close to 2 hours.
was it 2 hours at the facility?
Hour, 45 minutes.
So yeah, maybe a good, you know, to the early afternoon kind of thing, so. So email me if you're interested and I will keep you posted on the date, but May 29th is what we're kind of shooting for.
Okay. And will that be, will you guys have like a van or something everyone can ride in together?
We did last time, I'd have to check on that too. So I think, what's the van seat, like how
I think it's 15.
15-seater van, something like that. So, yep, I will check on that as well.
Okay.
Yep, so. But it is worth seeing. It's pretty, you understand a lot of why the rules are, the recycling rules are the way they are when you see the facility, so.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't go on the last one, but yeah, I hope to be able to go this time. Questions about that, or questions or comments around the potential field trip to beautiful Elkhart, Indiana? Okay, then I
And
think, yep, go ahead.
sorry, I have a question about older business. Can I ask it now, or do you want to move to something else?
No, I think now would be the time for us to move to other, if you have other, go ahead, in other words.
Thank you so much. And Patty, you had mentioned about the lead pipe stuff earlier in the itinerary today. So a friend of mine just found out that they're going to have the lead pipes changed out in their house, you know, from the city connections to their house. And I know, having been involved in the lead pipe thing a few years ago, that sometimes they're doing promotional stuff, and knowing that you did that fabulous recycle gig with me and our other recycling buddy, did not know if maybe this would be an opportunity for another promotional video of having someone's yard torn up and having them be all excited about getting rid of their lead pipes. Just offering that.
Yeah, I can check with, what do you think, Kurt? Yeah, we will ask it. That's not my area, but I will certainly ask, because what we're trying to do right now is, the city has this survey, an online little survey, and it's helping the water division figure out what types of materials, so we don't have to go to every single house. And even if the resident doesn't understand exactly what kind of pipe they have, it's getting them in contact with the water division. So I don't see why that wouldn't be a good idea. But yeah, I like that idea, and I'll talk to Perry about it.
Patty,
Yes.
and if I go on Lead Service again, I could get like pictures or videos and stuff if we wanted to do something
Okay.
like that.
Yep, sounds good. All right. Good idea, Kathy. Thank you.
Thank you. And if I might, just so the whole group hears this. So my neighbor, who is a really fabulous resident of the city of Battle Creek, the water department showed up in front of his house last year he was one of the random houses that they're checking. And he was irate and did not believe them when they said he was just a random check of the lead pipes, and they did all the good promo stuff. And he said to me, I didn't believe a word of those guys said to me. And I say that because he hears me crowing about what a great city we live in. He's a good resident and he didn't believe this whole lead pipe thing. So despite the fact that the city's doing a great job of promoting the pipe work, I don't think it would hurt to do more promo. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, can you explain what he didn't understand or believe?
Yes, I can very clearly delineate. This is a man of color, and this is what I've heard from many neighbors of color, that they do not believe whatever the city is telling them whenever the city shows up in their house or in their front yard. And I make it a note that it's a person of color, a Black person, and several of my other neighbors who happen to be Black have also said these types of things to me. Whereas for the most part, the neighbors that I have that are white don't say these things. Instead, they just are like, yeah, the city's going to tear up my lawn again to do the pipes. But my neighbor Tom said to me that he did not believe that he was one of the random inspector, and he did not believe that his property was chosen randomly. He had suspicions that his property was chosen for some nefarious reasons. And I say that as honestly as I can, because this is his true feelings to me. He wasn't going off on a nut or some conspiracy theorist kind of guy.
Mhm.
He did not believe that and despite the fact that the guys had uniforms on, they were in a city truck, they show him ID, he just didn't believe that he was a random pick and that they really just wanted to check out his pipes. What did they want to do? He did not know.
Okay. All right, well, we appreciate that feedback. It's, good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, it's just hard to reach him. I mean, like you said, we've done all sorts of campaigning and it's in brochures and.
Yeah, and I don't mean that the city has done a fabulous job of getting this word out, and just be cognizant that we need to continue to do this as long as we're digging up for the lead pipes, because it's so important, that work. Thank you so much, guys.
And it's just not of color either. It's there's a distrust of government. I mean, Bedford's got a project going on River Road to put water main in because the wells are showing PFAS. So the state pretty much selected them with a grant that's going to be paid for by the state to put a water main down. Half of them don't believe that they really have PFAS in their wells and are really fighting. And now as the timeline's coming, they're starting to get on board. But it's been a real fight. So I don't know how you break that trust barrier, but it's real.
Maybe the more we do, and if we get pictures of like more of them piled up, that way they see it's happening to like everyone, not just.
I think it helps as neighborhoods get.
Right, because then they
We're
see
trying to do
it
it
happening
consistent.
down the road or something.
Right, yeah. Point. All right, thank you.
Yep. Yeah. Thanks, Kathy. Well, I just want to add, Kathy didn't add, like, because I know Kathy and I know a bit internally about what's going on in these particular issues. I just want to make clear here to anyone watching the video and the public that what we're talking about, and Kathy bringing up the bringing up the racial identity of folks, people, Black people in particular, other people of color have historical reasons to be suspicious of the government involvement in their life. I just want to be clear. Kathy wasn't sort of racistly picking on Black people as somehow like, I just want to make clear to, someone from watching without any kind of ideas what the context was might be saying to themselves, why is that lady picking on Black people when what you're doing if I put words in your mouth, please correct me, Kathy. But what Kathy is pointing out the manifestations of the historical and ongoing ways that racism has showed up, both informally and formally at the hands of government. victimizing Black people and other people of color. And we see that manifesting as distrust. We saw it in the in pandemic and the vaccination efforts, and as Kurt pointed out, it certainly isn't limited to Black people either. And anyway, I just want to clarify that and make it clear what we're talking about here in the context around it. All right, other stuff. I had something came into my mind. There's some other big project, and I wanted to ask Chris about it while we was talking about the river naturalization. And now it like it, and I'm like, don't forget. And then I got interested and was listening to the whole thing, and now I've forgotten what that was. It's something else that's fairly, I don't know, something else that's in the BCU realm, but now I can't remember what it was I meant to ask about. So anyway.
Well, I'm always open for
all right. If I think about it. Any other questions or comments? All right. Do we have any public comment or question? Eric, do we see any? We don't have anyone here in the Zoom. Is there anyone online?
We have no one in the waiting room, Andy. We did have one comment on YouTube. I can share with the group. Not an official public comment, just more of just a comment she shared. She had a question about the trees that were planted. I know Bessie and Patty were talking about that. She just wondered if we were making sure that they were spread out enough. Someone had said they looked a little close.
Thank you for that question. Is that, yeah,
yes,
go ahead.
So we were targeting about 8 feet apart for each of them. It was a feels like kind of thing. We didn't measure them. We had a lot of volunteers out there, but that's what we specified. We said about this far plus another arm. So that so 8 feet is what we were targeting for. Yep. And we had a variety of different trees and shrubs. So
perfect, Patty. I'll go ahead and I'll share that with her as well.
I would say to the shrubs, we put more like 6 feet.
Yeah.
Those are the ones you're gonna see immediately, because we were putting those at the edge of the forest, so that will break away or try to keep the invasives at bay, and then there'll be a more colorful and a more attractive tree right there in the presence when people go by.
Gotcha. Thank you both. And that was it, Andy. Just that one comment.
Great. Thank you, Eric.
thanks.
It feels good to have one. We don't we rarely do. Like someone is out there paying attention and being curious. Yay. All right then. Any other comments or questions, announcements from members? All right then, seeing none. So we will be on the lookout for confirmation about the field trip to recycling, number one, and number two, a draft version or first draft of this report, greenhouse gas report that folks are working on, and that they're going to want feedback from us on, and then will be the main topic of discussion for the June meeting. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Andy, I do have one update.
Yeah, go ahead.
Event. So, it's in partnership with the Southwest Michigan Regional Housing Partnership, our Region J. There's 2 free upcoming workshops. The title of the workshop is Building a Foundation for Attainable Housing. And I can pass this along to Bessie, but there's gonna be one taking place Wednesday, May 29th, from 10 to 3 in Coldwater, and then one on Monday, June 17th in person from 10 to 3 at the Kalamazoo Expo Center. Lunch will be provided. It's workshops to help local government or other passionate individuals in Southwest Michigan explore policy tools to help meet housing goals. All individuals working on housing issues are invited. So I can pass that along if people are interested. So
Yeah, please do. And I did remember what my question was. It wasn't BCU. It was for Kurt and the gang. At one point or at a few points in the past, I know that the city has explored the concept of a stormwater
Utility?
some sort of stormwater utility with a revenue source and whatnot. And I wondered if there was any, like, where that stood. And I know, like, state legislation was potentially a part of that, and it was a complicated thing. But is there any news on that front?
It's still there. It's we're really waiting for you know, the state government to pass legislation to make it get around the bolt. I can't remember there's an act that you can't tax people without a vote. So this is a way around it. The legislations would actually be formed that we could actually do a to be able to do this fund, which would be it would be based on area and hard surface area. Residential would probably not. I mean, it wouldn't be too much for a residential, but it would be a little bit, you know, like a couple bucks. But who would really get hit is more of the businesses or those commercial properties that have a lot of hard surface area. So those are the ones that would pay the most to it. But this would help, certainly help a need that we have right now. There's currently no real funding for stormwater. So it's just
right. And so just real quick, if someone is watching or watching in the future, what we're talking about is, you know, our regular water and sewer system have that's its own sort of dedicated business unit, and they have you know, we all pay our water and sewer bill, but we have a separate, you know, fortunately we have a separate storm sewer from our sanitary sewer storm drain system, but that doesn't have a dedicated revenue stream that folks pay for. It just exists as part of the regular, you know, set of assets that, you know, infrastructure that needs to be maintained by the city. And you know, without a dedicated stream, it's just subject to whatever budgeting we can do. It's old. It's been in place for a while. It needs ongoing maintenance, or like anything else, it will fall apart. And one potential way of folks, you know, helping to pay for that, you know, communally, would be to have a fee. Like, you know, if I use a bunch of water, if I use way more water than Kathy does, I pay more in my water bill. Well, if I own property, you know, on which, when the rain falls, way more water runs off that and into the storm drain system than Kathy does, that I ought to be more responsible for the cost of maintaining that system if millions more gallons of water are running off my property. And now, you know, it gets complicated quick. And okay, is it running off my property? Is it running into a collection? You know, I think things it's not as simple as I'm making it sound, but that's the general idea of what we're talking about here. Right, Kurt?
Yeah, that was a great explanation for what we're trying to do. But yeah, it's going to be dependent on legislation getting passed.
Right. We can't. Yes, it would. Yeah, that would be a form of a tax that the city is not legally able to levy. But it's Battle Creek's not alone. Many other communities are dealing with this. Other places, I think, in the country are exploring or have put this in some kind of something like this in place. But it would involve enabling cities to be able to do it legally. You can't do it right now as it is with the current state law.
But you did make me think of one other thing too, that we're, you know, one thing is like our pond maintenance is not, it's just spread out between streets and the sewer department. But we do have the revenue sharing from the casino that does help us with stormwater. We just Ken Tujan, when it came, said that, you know, he saw the need. He came from Public Works, so that stream is dedicated to stormwater.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
That's one of the things. And we do have the sheep will be back, and hopefully here shortly. And those, that, it's a small token, it's like, I think $3,000 to even do it, but it's, but when that comes out of that, revenue sharing that the casino provides the city, so that, yeah.
Yep, I saw the sheep were coming back. That's cool. All right. Yeah, thank you for that. That was the thing that popped in my brain. I'm just, when it was raining the other day, my wife was reading an article in Smithsonian or something about somebody that was doing Storm. I'm like, wait, wait, what? So anyway, any other member comments or questions or announcements? All right, then. Thank you all for being here. Be on the lookout for the aforementioned stuff. And we will see you again at the end of June. As always, if you have questions or comments that come up in between then, feel free to email me or Patty, and we will get you answers. All right, thank you all. We will adjourn at 2:21 p.m. Thank you.